Alright, let's take a start with your IELTS speaking test. So this is speaking part 1. Do you work or study?
I'm done with my studies, so currently I'm working with a law firm.
Okay, what do you do?
I'm a legal associate with my senior colleagues, and I work on the different cases, that is about the criminal law, civil cases, and there are some other cases as well, like the family cases.
Alright.
So yes, I do research on that.
Why did you choose this field?
I chose the field because I was more, into the speaking, and I love to do some research on, on legal issues and the legal studies. So the main reason why I went for the law graduation was my interest. So mainly I chose law because of my interest.
Okay, do you think this field is popular among other people as well?
Yes, it is, because it's a very professional degree, and it does not matter at all, from where you belong and which, field of study you belong. You need a lawyer at the end of the day, and you need a legal assistance for that. So yes, it is very popular among people.
All right. Do you think your job is difficult?
Yes, it is difficult because you have a time to go to the court or your firm, but you are not sure when you're coming back. So yeah, it takes a lot of efforts and it takes a lot of time. So it is stressful.
Right. Do you think this job can pay you a lot of money?
Frankly speaking, in Pakistan, it takes a lot of time and you have to work a lot. And after maybe 8 to 10 years, you will be able to get your desired amount that you're looking for. But yes, talking about the other foreign countries, it is very well paid.
Good. What do you do to beat the stress, work-related stress?
What I do is when I came back to home, I don't think about my work, and I spend most of the time with myself or maybe with my family. So to overcome my stress, I take I do exercise, and I go to the bed and slept for around 7 to 8 hours.
All right, we now move on to IELTS speaking part 2. This is your topic, and here is pen and paper, and you have 1 minute to read the topic and write down some notes. Okay, so you'll now have to speak on this topic for 1 to 2 minutes.
Okay, so the first time when I spoke a foreign language was my job interview when I done my ACCA back in 2016. I was looking for a job in different companies, and there was a foreign company. They have a sub office in Pakistan that is situated in Gulberg. So I applied for the job, and they gave me a call, and they said, like, you have an interview, XYZ day, and I appeared in the interview. So it was a very shocking for me when I get to know that my interviewer is going to be a Gora, and he's from America, so I have to speak in English. So they asked me some questions, like they asked me to introduce myself. So it was very surprising for me because I didn't had a chance to speak a foreign language before. So I was quite nervous at the beginning, but then things was easy for me. Like it was very simple questions he was asking. So I went through it, and then he asked me for some particular questions about my field of study and my job description. We discussed about them, and then it was all like the mixed feelings I was having, and then they asked me for some different questions about my expectations about the company and the job, and I shared that with them. And at the end, he asked me, like, did you had a chance to speak foreign language before? I said no.
Okay, all right, thank you. Let's move on to speaking part 3. How many languages do people speak in your country?
Usually people speak a lot of languages, but the national language of our country is Urdu, but we do have some regional languages and the local languages. So there is a lot, number of languages that are being spoken in our country.
Do you think the languages people used to speak in the past are different than the languages people speak now?
To be honest, yes, it is to some extent, because people were more into their regional languages in the past, but now as we are getting into the modern world, people are trying to get over to the new and just to engage themselves with the other people and the modern generation. So they are learning some new modern languages. So
okay.
It is.
Why do people learn foreign languages?
Because language is something that is very important to communicate your ideas or to communicate your message. So it is always good if you know any foreign language and you're moving to that country and you don't know the language, you won't be able to survive there, you won't be able to convey your messages. So it is very important if you know the language, so your communication will be very easy.
Which language will be the most popular one 20 years from now?
I believe English language is going to be the most popular because it's an international language, and the countries like China who were sticking to their own languages and then they converted their internet and everything in their own language, now they are adopting and converting to English. So English would be the language that will be most popular in the coming.
Do you think it is difficult to learn a second language?
No, it is not at all. It is not difficult to learn a second language. You can learn. It's a very generic thing, and you can learn any language anytime. It's not about second language.
All right, thank you. That's the end of your IELTS speaking test. Overall, your speaking is quite good. You have the potential. The first thing is just reduce the number of times you use you know, I know. Okay, so these type of things actually irritate the examiner. So it's going to be very difficult for you, but you have to try to minimize it. It doesn't mean don't use it, but try to minimize it as much as possible. Overall, you spoke well, but I found few mistakes, not like very regular mistakes. Mistakes are not very frequent. They're very, very occasional. Like you said, I came, we should have said I come, and then you said several times, and then you use the word ghoda. Horse.
It's Gora, not the Gora.
Gora,
oh, okay.
Angrez, you want to say, right? So the Gora is not the right word. I thought horse, Ghoda.
No.
Yeah, your interview was conducted by a Ghoda, not a donkey, horse actually. Yeah. Maybe some interviews are conducted by elephants as well. So don't use any word like that, Gora or Nikaified or anything like that. Just try to use 100% English. And then at one point you said things was. It should have been things were, right? And then you said I was having. It's right in informal language, but it's better to say I had instead of I was having. And then again, you know, but in part 3, your answers were really good. So looking at your all these things at present, okay, let's rate you at 7, but it can be 6.5. There are more knows and all that, okay, because there is very minor difference between 6.5 and 7. So to be on the positive side, I'll rate you at 7, but if you overcome these mistakes, then you can sustain 7 and you can go beyond that. Sure. And if you go on like this and you make more of it, then it can be 6.5 as well, right?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.